What's that smell? Ah, yes, the crisp smell of fall.
Fall means sweater weather.
And speaking of sweater weather, I'm going to Marshall's today to grab a new cardigan and maybe check out their selection of cashmere. You know, new items arrive all the time, so they're always a fresh selection of the most wanted pieces for fall.
Marshall's buyers are hustling every day to get the deals, so we get the good stuff. And this fall is no different.
On everything. Leather and suede, designer handbags, on-trend denim, high-quality boots, accessories, you name it. So go get that sweater and all the other must-haves you'll love for fall. Marshall's is a one-stop shop for all the good stuff for less.
It's decided then. I'm going to my Marshall's for a whole new fit and more. And you should too. Score some amazing deals in-store or at marshalls.com. Get your holiday shopping started early with big savings. Today is Prime Early Access Sale, a new 48-hour global shopping event that offers Prime members exclusive access to hundreds of thousands of early holiday deals, with new deals dropping throughout the event. Customers can join Prime or start a 30-day free trial at amazon.com/prime to participate. Shop all the top deals and learn more about Prime Early Access Sale by visiting amazon.com/early access.
Well, what is this?
Welcome to the LadyGang.
That's amazing. Say that again.
The LadyGang.
Things are about to change around here.
Each week we catch up with Hollywood's hottest girl posse, Kelty Knight, Becca Tobin, and Jack Vanek.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the LadyGang. I'm Becca Tobin here with Jack Vanek and Kelty Knight.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just had a kind of a rowdy weekend.
Oh.
Probably the first since Core? No, his name's Ford, my son. Since Ford was born, we just had friends in town. But I hadn't really done anything or even had more than a glass of not a glass of wine, one cocktail at a dinner. So I'm struggling today.
Oh,
wow.
Do you have we're recording this on a Monday. Do you have a Monday hangover?
I didn't know. I can never, ever, ever drink on a Sunday because I get too worried about Monday. But since we're so f***ing old now that when I poison my body on a Saturday with tequila, I am still feeling it on Monday. Not feeling it. It's just the not being as on top of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're partying? Are you baby monitor in the back pocket kind of gal?
I have it on an iPad, so we just kind of we'll prop it up once he goes to bed wherever we're hanging out.
How's that? Is that such a weird vibe? I can't take care of anyone when I'm drinking except myself, but barely even that.
No, I mean I don't get super.
No, you're not. Yeah, you're not crazy.
I'm not I don't think I can name on one hand since being in my 30s that I've had a crazy night where I wouldn't be able to take care of a child.
Yeah.
So I'm just boring. Call me boring. Now it's time for
Good week.
Yes, it is.
Bad week. Oh, no.
who would like to go first?
I'll go, I guess, if I must. My good week is that Kelty and I saw Third Eye Blind recently, one of my favorite bands in the entire world, and they were f***ing amazing. And I haven't gone to a concert that isn't Jared's in very long. And I realized how magical it is when I'm not watching my fiance's band for the 50th time in the row.
Yeah.
So it was great. We had a little sing along. Their singer is 57 years old, and he talk about maybe aesthetic procedures to make you look very young. He was killing it, looked really young. What'd you think, Kelty?
I have my whole good week and bad week is this event with you. So you continue and then yes. Oh yes. I have so many thoughts.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go into it. My bad week is really short. It's a new word for the LadyGang dictionary, and I threw it in bad week because it's not great. Firea. Now this happens when this happened.
I know exactly what it is.
To Jared, and he coined it. I don't know if this is on urbandictionary.com or what, but he ate probably 30 of the spiciest shishito peppers that I have ever tasted in my entire life. I had a bite of one and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. He ate 2 whole things of them. And then for days, this has been a week later, the firea is going strong in his butthole. So that's the new term. Fieria.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. So my good week is that I went to Third Eye Blind. We weren't planning on going together. We were both planning on going, and then we moved our seats and we sat with Jared and Jack. And it was a great concert. I love Third Eye Blind. I was so happy. I thought the stage was amazing. So many LadyGangers. I've never felt more famous in my life. I probably got stopped 6 or 7 times, and pictures. And I mean, I was the Beyonce of the Third Eye Blind concert. It was amazing. So my good week is that when I got home from the concert, I got an amazing DM about the concert from someone who did not stop and say hi, but knew we were there, which is so crazy. And she said in the DM, wow, sitter downers at a concert. I expected it from you, but not Jack.
Oh, ooh. I didn't get this DM.
I know. Ooh. So there were multiple times that I wanted to stand up and like go in, but Jack and Jerry were sitting, like very lazy boy vibes.
No, I would have sat. We didn't get like pit wristbands, so I don't know if we could have gone in there. Actually, a LadyGanger
did not to stand out in the pit, but stand up at your seat.
Oh, but then you're standing in front of a seated concert's weird because if you stand, we were sitting in the front row of seated seats.
Yeah.
If you stand, then you have to make everybody behind you stand. And I just like didn't want to be that person.
You don't want to be the scene queen that
if
you are.
If people behind you are standing, you can stand, but not if they're seated.
Not if they're seated. And a lot of the people at this concert were like 30s, 40s,
we wanted
50s.
To sit.
Like everybody wanted to sit. I did have a time that I wanted to stand, but I was just like, I'm stuck here. So we're sitting.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was very funny that people were like, we expected it from Kelty.
I know. I felt that in my bones.
You did, right?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Okay. And so that was my good week. My bad, it's not really a bad week, but like I need to do this story together. Okay. This was the first concert that I have ever gone to with Jack and Jared as a couple. Okay. Oh. Jack and Jerry going to a concert. I need to describe this fully, and I really hope this comes across to all of you when you're listening, just how special it is. It was like they were looking through the James Webb telescope and seeing the distant galaxies for the first time. It was like they were playing that Operation game from the 90s, and they had to go in and pull out the heart without your little tool touching the side and giving you It was like... It was brain surgery on crack. It was like between every song, they would go to each other. They would talk about what just happened in the song, talk about what happened on stage, who played what, if this sounded good, blah, blah, blah. And then they would be like, okay, well, obviously next he's got to play a drive-by. I think he played drive-by. And then the first note would go of the new song, and they'd look at each other, and it would be like a game of like who could guess what the song was first.
Yeah.
And then once they both, like, their eyes would go wide and they'd realize what song it was and they'd start, like, kind of banging. It was, like, the most intense couple vibe I have ever seen in my life. The concert was amazing. Watching Jack and Jerry emote with each other and digest this concert as a couple was crazy.
I know, we were doing that. It was definitely
so exhausting to be in your brains. You can't just go back and be like, oh yeah, and then like enjoy the concert. Oh god.
No, well, we did realize, like, for both of us, Third Eye Blind is my second like favorite band where I know like every single song that they have put on every single like record that they've ever had. So it is one of those things that like we hear a note, we're like, oh, it's going to be How's It Going to Be? It's going to be Wounded. And we're like, it was like a little game that we were playing, but it was so, and they were so fucking good too. Third Eye Blind is very inconsistent. Sometimes they play a show, like I've toured with them before, and they've been very, very bad. And then sometimes they're like the best band I've ever seen. So it was just like an amazing experience for both of us to actually see them in their prime. And Steven blew his voice out, and he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm still going to sing every song. Like, it is like my life depends on it. And it was like the best experience.
Even Jenkins can get it. He's still so hot.
So hot.
Woo. Anyway,
Sexual.
Becca, sorry that you weren't here. Not to make you feel left out.
That's
I wouldn't
cute,
have gone to the
Kelty.
concert anyway.
What if Cam was opening?
Yeah, of course. And then I would leave.
Rude.
My bad week is
This conversation.
No. I was at the airport and I forget where I was going because I've been doing these lovely, relaxing day trips a lot.
Yeah.
And I got off the plane. I was like, oh, I have to pee. And I've been wearing a mask on the plane a lot because of Ford and because, we're still all getting sick. And that's so fun. So I just wear the mask and I'm like wearing my glasses because I'm like working on my computer a lot. So I still have the mask and the glasses and I think like a baseball cap on my head. And do you know those moments where you're so
Ugly.
inhibited, but you don't realize it until things come off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I come off the plane, I go straight to the bathroom and I'm wearing all my things and I'm carrying this big heavy bag and it's just so much to deal with. And I don't like to put paper down on the seat because I've been squatting for years and I am a good squatter. And even if I sprinkle on the seat, I do wipe it up with a little
She's got
tape.
a deep plie.
Right, a deep plie and a little sprinkle never hurt nobody. I sit down and I start to pee. And I realize I'm peeing directly on the floor.
Oh my God.
Wait, what?
Directly. My depth perception from the hat on my head, the blue light blockers, and the mask on my face while trying to juggle my bag to not hit the floor. I peed.
Like in front of the toilet or on the side of it?
In front of the toilet. I didn't have my butt backed up enough over the seat.
Oh no.
I am so mortified. I'm like, I start to get all the toilet paper and I start patting it, but it's too much liquid. It's way too much liquid. And I'm like, what do? I can't leave this stall, go get paper towel because someone's going to walk back into it. As I'm walking out, I'm like, listen, I'll leave my bag in front of the stall so no one opens the door and I'll go get a paper towel, whatever. No paper towels. It's
a Dyson only.
Dyson bullshit air. Mm-mm. So I stand there and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do. I'm so mortified. I can't be the monster garbage person who leaves urine on the floor. So as I'm standing there and I'm trying to figure out what to do, the lovely woman who cleans the bathrooms comes in. And I'm like, I'm going to have to face the music.
Oh my God.
And I walk
this
up
is
to
so
her.
intense.
It's the worst moment ever. Meanwhile, I've taken my hat off at this point and my glasses and I'm like, oh.
And she's like, Kitty?
It's
a whole
me.
New world. No. And I walked up to her and I was like, I am so sorry. I'm sober. There's nothing. I'm not crazy. I'm not a gross person. I accidentally peed on the floor. She just looks at me and she goes, oh, honey, it's okay. I'll mop it up.
I'm sure it's not the first time that she's had to do that.
She did say, I just thank you for not leaving it behind without
She
letting
did?
me know. Yes. Because she's like, most people won't do it and then people will track it in and out and it's just a big mess. And I was like, can I do it? Can I mop it? Like, I don't even want you to have to do this. She's like, no, it's like, don't be ridiculous, whatever. It was a whole thing. She was so sweet. But I cannot believe, because I've walked into so many stalls and I've been like, what kind of a
these
dirtbag.
Why are women so disgusting?
No, there's nothing grosser in life than a women's bathroom. Like, that lady has seen it all. We are
so bad.
disgusting creatures.
I felt so bad. She was so sweet. I mean, I can't.
This is incredible.
It's horrible. But anyways, not
Peed in a
terrible.
purse, peed on the floor.
Yeah, bad name. Good
Queen
name.
everywhere.
Queen of
Okay,
pee.
my good week is I am training for a half marathon
You.
because this is not a little deep. It's like I was dealing with the last couple years. I've been feeling really crappy in my body. I'm like, why am I suddenly so insecure? Why am I suddenly hating everything about my body? I'm getting older, but I feel like it's something more. And then I was in therapy and I'm like, I realized that my whole life I've been very physical, whether it's gymnastics to dance to musical theater. Like my whole career has been, part of it is always an important part of it is being physical and learning choreography and dancing and sweating and whatever. So I was like, oh, ever since I haven't been doing it for work, I just don't do any. I mean, I work out a little bit, but I haven't had like a challenge and I haven't had to work really, really hard. So I found that I'm the most comfortable like in my body when I'm being physically challenged, working toward a goal. And then I get my head out of my own ass because I'm like, who cares if you don't like your thighs? You just ran 8 miles, so go yourself. So it's been really helpful. And I thought it might be helpful for girls to like hear it. Cause sometimes we get like so wrapped up in what we look like aesthetically. And this is the perfect episode for that. Sometimes it just takes like reframing and of like what my body's good for. And it's more than just taking cute outfit pics. I
love that.
Yeah.
Proud of you. When's the marathon?
How does that go? Now I'm like, do I want to do a half marathon?
I can't run.
I was like, well, I was talking to my friend who runs a lot, and I was like, well, I need to find one to do, like an official half marathon to do. And she actually said to me, she trained and actually just ran a half marathon like for herself on her own day because I was looking and I was like, there's nothing that falls into our schedule. A lot of it's like while we're on tour, a lot of it's in places I don't really want to go. I don't want to do a super hilly place that really cuts out a lot. So I'm just giving myself a date in October where I will be running my own personal half marathon.
How far is a half marathon?
13 miles. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Becca. So you know what? I really love this. And I just want to say something because we are going into like a very, not vapid conversation, but more of like a things you do conversation.
It's empowering.
I think it's empowering too. But when I was in the hospital with my brother this year, one of the things that he promised, or we had like a pact where I was like, when we're in a better position, all I want is for you to join a gym. You know, because my therapist, it's proven like the number one thing you can do for yourself is like go for a walk, sweat, do something with your body. And it was really interesting, something he said to me. And he was like, yeah, he's like, that would be such like a dream to be able to do that, you know? And he's like, to be able to go to a gym would be such a gift. And I was like, oh my God, like, because, you know, sometimes we think about like getting up and moving and it being like this thing we have to do. We have to do it because we're supposed to do it because we have to look a certain way or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you know, I'm also, sorry, I know this is going on a tangent, but I'm also thinking of Clea from the Home Edit, who's like, fighting cancer right now. And I think about like, life can just knock you down. And like, then you're in chemo and you're like wishing that you could go for a walk on the block or wishing that you were healthy. So it's like, I love this, Becca, that you're like, I'm not feeling like I'm taking almost like full force of my body and my power and like going for it. Like, I love this for you.
Thanks.
I'm going to do something too.
Okay. Let's all have physical challenges. Just solely to
Jack, you wine bottle.
No, mine's walking. I can do a walk.
I was very inspired by your TikTok where you're doing the yoga because I've always wanted to learn how to stand on my head. And I think it's amazing that you can do that.
That could be your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's interesting. Like the more you challenge your body and like the more that you see that it can do so much, like the less focus goes into how it actually looks when you're just standing there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a really crazy thing that I never considered before therapy because I was just such a psycho for the last couple years of like picking my body apart. And then I'm like, and then we just become dust. So I'm not going to spend these years in my 30s like wishing that my thigh bone was longer.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Well, we do have an incredible woman coming on who I admire very much because it's really lifting the veil of plastic surgery and empowering women to seek it out if you want to, but do it in the best way, in the most knowledgeable way. So she's a great resource, and we wanted to bring her to you.
This episode of LadyGang is brought to you by Stamps.com. Now, let me tell you something. If you're a small business owner like me, and you possibly have 250 VIP LadyGang book totes that you need to get on tour to give your girls in every single city, but they weigh a ton because they're super high quality and gorgeous, and you decided, okay, I'm going to mail 2 huge boxes of them with 100 each to Becca's parents in Atlanta, and I'm going to pick them up in Atlanta and then give them to the VIPs, but you're also super stressed because you're leaving for tour in 3 days and you don't really have time and want to stand in line at the post office, then you just click on your Stamps.com, you print out the address, you print out the package at home, and you literally drop it off at the postal annex, and it takes 2 seconds. It is the easiest thing in the world. If you are doing any type of mailing, any time of day, any amount, the holiday season's coming up, being able to print your own postage at home, it's so easy, and it is so great. Get ahead of the holiday chaos this year. Get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with our promo code LadyGang for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter our code LadyGang. See you at the mail. This episode of LadyGang is brought to you by Daily Harvest, and I'm reading this new information that I'm meant to tell you this week, and I'm very interested in something I'm seeing here. Fall is approaching, which means the harvest season is upon us. Yes, you know what season it is. Pumpkin spice latte season, the Daily Harvest season. So Daily Harvest delivers delicious harvest bowls, soups, flatbreads, which I love, snacks, smoothies, lattes, and more built on organic fruits and vegetables. I need to find out more about this latte because that is not in my current subscription order, and I'm kind of a coffee hound now, and like, are you whipping me up a delicious latte, Daily Harvest? I think you are. Daily Harvest works directly with farmers to source the best of the best ingredients. They freeze their ingredients at peak ripeness and never use artificials anywhere. You deserve this. One less thing to worry about. The flatbreads, the smoothie bowl, like, it just makes life so easy. Just go in the freezer and you're like, okay, now I'm going to warm this up. Dinner is served, lunch is ready, and it's healthy. Go to dailyharvest.com/lady to get up to $40 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/lady for up to $40 off your first box. dailyharvest.com/lady. Literally packing for tour right now, and we're so heavy. I have like probably 14 bags, and I'm trying to really skim down what I take personally for me. And I'm like, okay, I got to take this. I got to take this hair oil. I got to take this face oil. I got to take this. And then I'm like, well, what vitamins am I taking? Am I taking the whole kabang? And you know, the only one that made it, my Nutrafol. It's the most important. It's for my hair. I mean, all I care about is having my luscious, amazing hair. 30 million women are impacted by weakening or thinning hair, and Nutrafol is the solution you were looking for. It is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement. 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. And here's the thing. I get asked all the time, does it really work? Does it really work? It really works. You got to take it. It is worth the money, but you got to take it like 6 months, a year. I started noticing like a whole new head of hair at a year and a half. I mean, it's a long game. It's really good. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering the promo code LadyGang to save $15 off your first month subscription. This is their best offer anywhere and available only to U.S. customers for a limited time, plus free shipping on every order. Get $15 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LadyGang.
Now back to the Lady Gang.
Melinda Farina is the founder of Beauty Brokers, Inc. She is globally recognized as the go-to aesthetic consultant, having vetted the best aesthetics specialists across the world, and has been awarded by an NYC Premier Professional women's affiliations such as New York Women in Communications as a leading innovator and entrepreneur in health and beauty. She has been described as a refreshing girl boss with a no-nonsense roll up her sleeves work ethic by renowned industry leaders and national publications. She's been in Entrepreneur Magazine, Allure, Vanity Fair, you know, just the little publications like that. She's an out with the old and in with the new, effective and latest aesthetic procedures and trends attitude. So she is over 29 years of experience. She is the go-to girl. I found her through Jenny Mullen because anytime I want to up with my face and I want to change something, I go to Jenny and I say, what do I do? And she's like, listen, I'm good at this, but do you know who the best of the best of the best is? And she led me straight into the arms and Instagram of the beauty broker. Melinda, welcome to the Lady Gang.
Oh, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
We are so excited you're here.
I am so glad that Jenny put you in my presence, because anyone who Jenny introduces me to is just fabulous. I mean, she's just put me in touch with some of the best women across the world. So I love you, Jenny. Thank you.
She's such a connector, and really knows her stuff, from jewelry to nose jobs. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
She really does. I'm going to collaborate and write a book with Jenny for sure.
You should. You should. Okay. So for people, from the intro, for people who really don't understand what it is that you do, what do you do and how did this become your career?
Okay. So, I mean, to simplify it, because a lot of people get confused, I'm a plastic surgery consultant. and a patient safety advocate. So we vet surgeons across the world, but we look for niche specialists, meaning that, not every surgeon is right for every type of procedure. And even if there is one specific procedure, not every surgeon is right for that one specific procedure, depending on the case specification. So we really, do put in our due diligence for the process of elimination processes when we are vetting our surgeons. And we look for these niche specific surgeons. And we are kind of like aesthetic matchmakers in a way, really, if you wanted to simplify it in its truest form. That's what we do. We will match you with the best surgeon for your case. And we have a good track record for success as far as it pertains to like extremely natural, beautiful, imperceptible results. And this is why people love us and come to us, and we're booked out about a year at this point. And, it's just grown significantly over the past 28 years. And I'm really proud of what we've built.
So essentially, like, my friend Thea and I, we love to discuss who's doing what body parts in Beverly Hills. So we'll be like, she'll be like, oh God, no, the nose guy is this guy. And like, oh no, if you've got boobs, you go to this guy. But like, you're the professional version of that.
You're not just guessing.
Well, yeah, there's 50 different types of boob guys, and 50 different types of rhinoplasty specialists. So, you have to get very niche specific, because when it comes to aesthetics, millimeters make a difference, and skin type makes a difference, and certain, specifications that the case calls for makes a difference, and who's doing it, or their approach makes a difference. Their technique makes a difference. The little technical nuances within the surgery makes a difference. So everyone thinks they know like who the boob guy is or who the nose guy is. And I'm just like, that's such an amateur thing to hear, from a professional standpoint, no, it's not to be offensive at all. It's more of like, from my standpoint and from being in the OR and seeing what these surgeons do and seeing, how their technique applies to different case specifications, you really start to get a true understanding of what they excel in, the type of case they excel in. So, I always say, like, if your best friend's your twin, then take advice from your best friend. If she's not your identical twin, like, don't listen to your best friend. If you don't have the same lifestyle, if you don't have the same skin, the same, situation, don't go to your friend's doctor, because you're going to go to the wrong person. You're going to be unhappy. And usually, I'm right.
Love it.
And there are so many like Instagram doctors that you see, like the plastic surgeons that are kind of flashy and they like having celebrities in. Like, are those, from like a normal person's standpoint, we see some of them on Instagram being like, oh, well, that must be like the nose job guy, because I've seen his nose jobs like a million times over Instagram. Is that the truth, or are the best doctors kind of like hidden gems, do you think?
You always have to be careful with the super, super famous surgeons, because I always feel those surgeons are diluting themselves. I know a lot of phenomenal ones who maintain the integrity of their craft. But then there are the ones who get too busy and are packing in too many surgeries per day and putting less time and attention into your case. This is there's one surgeon in New York City who I love and who's one of my mentors. His name is David Hidalgo. And he always said to me, Melinda, plastic surgery is a one-time event for the surgeon and it's a lifetime event for the patient. And you have to treat it that way with each and every case. So, that meant a lot, and that stuck with me. When I vet surgeons, I make sure I look at their schedules. I make sure they're putting in the time. When I go into the ORs and seeing how long are they taking on these cases, really, are they spending a lot of time on the details, because the devil's in the details with these procedures. You can't have a surgeon who's just, oh yeah, he's a big name, a famous name, he's a celebrity, and he's spending a half an hour on your case, and maybe having a fellow come in to close up the incisions. I mean, that happens too in our industry. So you have to know what's going on while you're under it.
Yeah. I also like that I read on your website, for the people who want to come out and be like, she's getting a kickback from doctors and it's all, how people get really crazy. You legally cannot receive a dime from these doctors, right?
Doctor to doctor, it's stark law. They cannot receive a referral fee. However, a consultant can, but I don't. I made the decision in changing this business plan a million times over and trying to figure out how is this going to work. I work and I advocate for the patient, not the doctor. So, I tell the doctors, this is a free service. If we choose you, and if we choose you, you have to just, owe us a good result, and that's how you're going to pay me. You're going to pay me with good results. And the second I stop seeing those good results, like, you're out. I have not, like, we don't owe each other anything. There's no monetary exchange. I don't owe you anything. So I'm just going to cut ties if I start seeing poor results. And it works that way, because I realize in order to have a company like this, trust is the most important thing. The trust of my client is the most important thing. So that the patient knows that I'm working for them, I'm advocating for them only, that I don't care about, that doctor. I'm not doing this for the doctor. I care that the doctor is just going to produce good results for my client. That's so important.
And I want to know, what is the big procedure happening now? Is it still butts?
Ooh.
No. Yeah. So in the past decade, we've seen like bigger is better. And now, everyone's undoing what they've done over the past decade. So right now we're seeing everyone, explanting, which is the big thing right now. Everyone's going smaller with the breast. So explanting, breast lifting, a lot of liposculpture to try to get rid of the fat transfers that everyone has done. Trying to like undo all of this extreme liposculpture and high definition liposculpture. Fillers are dying out. Luckily, thank God, because we're a filler-free consultancy and I hate fillers, but everyone's kind of realizing that they're not making you look better. They're making you look worse. So a lot of people are now just going and making permanent changes to themselves. Like where they used to do filler in their chin, they're now doing customized laboratory fabricated chin implants or geniotomies. More women are doing customized cheek and malar implants on the zygoma here, to pop the cheek out if they really wanted a little bit more volume. Or they're doing like a tiny bit of tastefully done fat transfer, or, women who just want to look more quote unquote snatched. And I hate that word so much. They're doing a facelift, so everyone's going a little bit smaller. Everyone's going a little bit tighter and more natural. People just kind of want to get back to their natural selves again. I think everyone was just so into the hype of all of this filler and fat transfer, the BBLs, the big breasts, and yeah, it's interesting. And I always knew that it was going to reverse at some point, and it is now. So I'm happy to see that, because I definitely like more of a natural aesthetic for sure. But it's sad to see some of these women have done irreparable damage to themselves, and that's, I think, the most important thing in having my page and trying to educate, and create smart consumers and people who are looking into plastic surgery, educating the patient, that you don't go and you do these procedures based on trends. You do it and you do what's best for your body. You do what's best for your face, because again, we get one shell. It's not like we get a million different shells. So we have to take care of the one that we're living in and make sure that we make smart decisions for ourselves.
And I think a huge motivation to have you come on is not only shed light on the whole industry and educate our women, because as women, I think it's empowering to make the decision. If you're uncomfortable or you're insecure about a body part or whatever it may be, I'm excited that women have someone to go to, a place to go, and we can be a little bit more open about these procedures, which I think in turn makes them safer,
Sure,
and probably better outcomes. But what do you have to say? Is it super? Is it a bummer for you to hear about women who are on Instagram, and it's Kelty I'm going to make an example of, because she was very open about this. Okay. She hated this part of her chin, her,
waddle,
whatever she calls it. She had seen the trendy thing to do was Kybella and, go in there and inject and cool sculpting and all these like
go in there with it.
Yeah. Medi spa type procedures. And she ended up hating the results, stretching the skin, going to Dr. Diamond in Beverly Hills. And he said to her, you've actually damaged, these procedures have really damaged the skin, and it requires a surgery to fix it.
Of course. I have a real hatred for the non-invasive industry. I say to all of my clients, non-invasive, non-effective. And, a lot of those procedures are extremely damaging. If you think about it, really break it down. heating the tissues. I use like the chicken cutlet analogy. It's like you take a raw chicken cutlet and you take, a fork and you stick it over flames and then you stick it in the chicken cutlet. What are you going to do? You're going to cook that meat, and like, what are we doing to our skin? What are we doing to our tissues? We automatically, our cells die as we get older. That's what ages us. And we're just progressing that process, by going in and melting fat with acids and sticking, hot needles into our skin. I mean, everyone's like, no, it's great. You're going to produce more collagen. And it creates these like, micro injuries. And I'm like, no, you're literally eating away your fat. You're getting rid of the foundation underneath the skin. You're collapsing everything and you are diminishing the integrity of the health of your tissues. So, we do that naturally as we age. Why are you going to progress that? Immediately you see an inflammatory response. So everyone automatically thinks, oh, look, I got a result. Once that starts to really heal up and then you see the real result, usually it's not one that is desirable, so the more of these things that women do to themselves, the more you're damaging them, the quicker you're putting yourself into a facelift. And you're also creating a bad situation for the doctor who's going to do your facelift, because now you're creating tons of scar tissue and fibrosis underneath. Kybella, a lot of fibrous tissue, in those areas. Therapy, really cements and welds those tissues together. When a doctor goes in to do a facelift, you want a doctor to go in and cut through like a butter knife through butter, not like a butter knife through hard rubber, when they're like hacking away to try to get through and you have all these like really important facial nerve branches underneath. And now they're going in there and they're having a hard time and it's like an obstacle course for them. So I tell everybody, if you want a successful surgery and you want a beautiful result, don't do any of that stuff. Just wait it out. It's okay to age a little bit. Like I'm, in my 40s and things are falling and I look at myself all the time like, okay, I see nasolabial fold and I see my tear trough. And would this look better if I lifted this up? And, often I talk to my clients and I say, what do you want? And they're like, I want this. And they pull their cheek up and the jawline back. I'm like, well, that's a facelift, and you're definitely heading, so I'm not saying like, don't fill your face because that's not where you're looking to do. You don't want to make it bigger. You want to make it tighter and you want it lifted. So, that's really the way to go. And you just kind of want to wait it out until it's time to do that. And I tell everyone, when my time comes, I'll do one facelift and then call it a day. And that's it.
So I have a question about like the non-invasive things, and something that is so polarizing, I feel like in this whole industry, is threads. Like there are some doctors that are like, threads are like, it's like a mini facelift. They're like the future and blah, blah. And then there's other doctors that are like, these do not work. They make everything worse. Like, what are your opinions on threads? Because I know it's something that people do that aren't ready for a facelift, that don't want to do filler, that just like want to lift.
Right. So you have to understand, the anatomy before you even start to sign yourself up with threads. So any doctor pushing threads is a doctor that does not know how to do a facelift, because any doctor doing a facelift, and what they say, the good facelift surgeons are always saying, if threads were a good option, we'd offer it. And we just don't, like I don't want a patient leaving and going elsewhere and doing threads. If that were a good option, I would offer it. The thing with threads is that you're pulling skin. And, in a facelift, you're going kind of in the deeper layers and you're working with the structures underneath to redrape and reposition. We animate on a daily basis. We smile, we speak, we chew, we yawn, we wash our face, we sleep, we're maybe sometimes leaning on our face. So just putting a thread through the skin and pulling it up, it's just not going to last. They don't last, and they create, anytime you put anything in under your skin, you're putting threads through, you're creating scar tissue. So, when you do these things, it's creating striated scar tissue, and they just simply don't last. I have celebrity clients who will do threads as like a last resort option right before a major event. Like they'll do it a week before or 2 weeks before. And I'm like, fine. I'll allow that, but just know, like, I don't want you to damage your tissues, but if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. And, obviously I fight with them over it, but they wait until last minute to do everything all the time. So in that case, if you have an event and you're like, I just want to look lifted just for this one event, then fine. But just don't make a habit out of it. And then I have some doctors who are phenomenal, with doing threads. I mean, the couple that come to mind are like Dr. Julius Few or Kian Karimi and Dr. Rifkin out in LA. So those guys do a lot of that stuff. And I'm like, fine, if you have to do it, go talk to these guys. They know what they're doing. They're at the forefront of threads, fine. But ultimately, it's not my number one option for sure.
Are we going to see the overfilled lips go away?
They are going away. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah, I know. I mean, in my day, and I also am guilty of doing this, they used to put silicone in lips, like silicone oil. So when I was 18, I had this dermatologist upstairs from where I worked, and he was doing it to like everyone who worked in my office. So we all have these like old silicone lips now, which I hate. But yes, it's going away. People are, doing away with a lot of these big lip fillers. I think, they're realizing, hey, it doesn't make me look good. A lot of times the stuff migrates and creates like these perioral mounds and wells of just like fluid that kind of sit here and make the folds look deeper. Yeah, I think, I like where the industry is going right now, a more natural look. And I'm excited about that. I was like waiting for this day to come. So it's nice to see everyone coming in now and what the requests actually are. But yeah, of course, depending on where you are, I mean, in LA, in Miami, everyone's still like, go big or go home. They still have that mentality. So when we see that shift, I'll be really happy.
And what do you have to say for all the celebrities who are constantly claiming to have only done Botox? They only do Botox. They've never done the eyebrow lift. They've never done, even filler.
Right.
Like, does it just infuriate you? Like, I just want women to know, like, I have friends from home who are really intelligent women who show me pictures of people and they're like, but look how amazing she looks, like, and she doesn't do anything. And I'm like, that bitch has done it all.
Skincare.
Yeah.
But her nose is so much smaller than it used to be.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I used to hate hearing that stuff. And now that I work with so many of them, I kind of see it from a different viewpoint, right? When you're in the public eye, you have so many haters. So it's like, no matter, say if these people came out and said, yes, I did this, this, and that, you're going to have haters and you're going to have people saying, oh, how dare she? She's disgusting. She's so not natural, And then if you don't tell them what you did, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. So I guess they're just like, whatever, I'd rather not have to deal with like answering to everyone's criticism. So I'm just going to tell them like I just did a neurotoxin. I mean, everyone complains about stigmas, but yet, women are the one who put the stigmas on it. I mean, you could just go to anybody's, comment section or any celebrity's comment section and you see a bunch of positive ones and you see a bunch of haters. So I mean, and even as my company grows, I see it on my own comment streams. I'm just like, I can't with people, and I look at my admin, I look at Gianna and I'm just like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And I'm just so sick of it. Like everyone needs to stop being so judgmental and nosy. Who cares? I tell everyone, focus on yourself. Who cares about what the other person's doing? Hey, it doesn't matter what they're doing anyway, because they don't have your face and you don't have their face. So focus on yourself and stop being so petty. I mean, the world is really going in a negative direction. I'm so sick of it. And I don't have time for the gossip. And, I mean, you look at half of these like housewives and all these shows and reality shows and like they thrive on gossip. And I'm just like, it's such a toxic world out there. So yeah, as far as celebrities confessing to what they've done, it's more of like, they're just like, I don't want to deal with the headache,
Yeah. But I kind of wish they did.
Well,
right.
It's you do and you don't. Like I recently heard from somebody in the medical field that all these celebrities coming out and admitting that is sending young girls to plastic surgeons because they're saying, I want Bella Hadid's eyes. How did she get them? As opposed to what's worse, her going and getting this surgery really young and maybe she's not going to want that forever, or her hating her face because she doesn't have natural beauty, like quote, this person. It's like,
it's a catch-22. Really it's so up.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think that the youth of today is dealing with something a lot different than what we have dealt with. I don't know how old all y'all are, but, growing up, I used to bring, my photo, the film to a store to get developed and pick up the pictures. And, I didn't I didn't have a camera in front of me at all time. I didn't have a phone in front of me at all time. And there was no such thing as filters. You know, we had makeup. And if we didn't like the picture, you ripped it up and you throw it out.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's like everyone's taking photos of themselves and so hypercritical and comparing themselves to everyone else's filtered photos. So, you know, there's a lot of unrealistic expectations as it pertains to plastic surgery and the capabilities of what plastic surgery can actually achieve for you. And you also have to know that, you know, no matter what you do in plastic surgery, we still have to respect function and anatomy. And, you know, there's a lot that goes on underneath the skin. And, you know, that's something that you guys need to understand and be educated on. So you know what the limitations are. So, you know, I don't know. It's the whole celebrity thing. I pay no mind to. Anytime anyone wants to talk to me about like celebrity plastic surgery, I usually don't entertain the conversation because I think it's just silly. You know, I think that plastic surgery, aesthetic surgery is individualized and customized to the person. And that's important to know and for everyone to respect because, you know, I think that in this circus of social media, a very serious industry is now not taken so seriously. And that's a scary thing.
Get your holiday shopping started early with big savings. Today is Prime Early Access Sale, a new 48-hour global shopping event that offers Prime members exclusive access to hundreds of thousands of early holiday deals, with new deals dropping throughout the event. Amazon's new global shopping event is just one of the many perks that Prime members can unlock with a Prime membership. Other benefits include fast free delivery, a free 1-year Grubhub Plus trial membership, a free 4-month trial of Amazon Music Unlimited, access to Prime Video, which you know I love. Customers can join Prime or start a 30-day free trial at amazon.com/prime to participate. Shop all the top deals and learn more about Prime Early Access Sale by visiting amazon.com/early access. That's amazon.com/early access. I know that I will be going to save big on brands like New Balance, Adidas, Furbo, Ashley Furniture, Murad, Philips Sonicare. They have so many kitchen things for my new kitchen from Samsung, iRobot, KitchenAid, and Prime members can save big on must-have brands across categories like electronics, home and kitchen, beauty, and fashion. Feel relaxed and refreshed in only 15 minutes. Book your smooth escape with the wax experts at European Wax Center. They offer fast, convenient appointments that make it easy to find your moment of smooth. And it only takes 15 minutes to feel relaxed, refreshed, and restored. Reveal beautiful skin wherever you want, from brows to your toes. I love doing my toes. European Wax Center specializes in all kinds of smooth. You gotta trust the experts at European Wax Center to help you strut out with confidence. And let me tell you, I am heading out on tour, and I've already made my appointment because I need all the confidence I can get heading into this crazy, stressful time. There's hundreds of locations, and your wax center could be just around the corner. Give them 15 minutes of your time, and they'll give you some extra smooth. Experience a new state of smooth at European Wax Center. Make a reservation today. Your first wax is free. That's right. Your first wax is free. You just go to waxcenter.com, and you put in the appointment, and your first wax is free. Go get them.
LadyGang is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Let's face it, sometimes multitasking can be overwhelming, like when your favorite podcast is playing, like the LadyGang, and the person next to you is talking and your car fan is blasting, all while you're trying to find the perfect parking spot. But then again, sometimes multitasking is easy, like quoting with Progressive Insurance. They do the hard work of comparing rates so you can find a great rate that works for you, even if it's not with them. Give their nifty comparison tool a try, and you might just find getting the rate and coverage you deserve is easy. All you need to do is visit Progressive's website to get a quote with all the coverages you want, like comprehensive and collision coverage or personal injury protection. Then you'll see Progressive's direct rate, and their tool will provide options from other companies all lined up and ready to compare, so it's simple to choose the rate and coverage you like. Press play on comparing auto rates, quote at progressive.com to join the over 27 million drivers who trust Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
You're listening to the Lady Gang.
Okay, so tonight, I just turned 40. We're going to do an example. Okay,
Great.
Okay.
I mean, just like,
Let's do a role play,
hostage. I have two questions. What is the youngest that you've ever seen someone get a facelift? Because I, like Becca said, I did all that stuff. I did have a neck lift a couple years ago, but the surgeon who did it, Dr. Diamond, was like, hey, you really screwed up your neck. And like what you need, I was like 37 at the time. He's like, you need a full facelift, but like you're 37 and I will never do that to you. So I'm going to tighten it. We're going to do our best. I'm going to go in there and see what you've done. And just know that this will like, you know, it will be better, but it's not going to be perfect. And so then every time I go in or whatever, I'm like, I can't wait until what's my age? So that's my first question is like, you know, because you don't do it twice. Like I get it. And then I like look at, you know, Kathy Hilton, who obviously did something and she looks freaking amazing, but she's 65. And I was like, I don't think I can wait another 20 years. Okay. So that's my number one. My number two is
she's like, I'm counting down the days. I need to put it in my calendar. She's
like, I can't wait to be closer to death so I could get a facelift. And then my number two thing is I really want to know what you think of these like fat transfer boob jobs.
Okay.
And if they work. So those are my two questions.
All right. Perfect. Great questions. And, you know, when we treat a face, we don't treat a number. We don't treat 37. We don't treat 40. We don't treat 50. We treat a condition, you know, so, and I love Jason Diamond. He's a dear, dear friend. He's just one of the most wonderful people on the planet. And he's right. You know, if there's mobility in the tissue and you are presenting clinically with folds and mobility and sagging and damage, you know, due to Kybella and anything else that you tried, perhaps, you know, tightening the envelope is the way to go. And that is a facelift. And again, you know, there's such a stigma attached to a facelift. It's like, is there the same stigma attached to a breast lift? If your boobs are sagging, you lift them. There's no question about it. You're like, my boobs are sagging. I need to lift them. Your face is sagging. You lift it. So what the hell is the stigma? You know, I'm so curious to know what everyone's like, wow, I can't believe she did a facelift. But like, no one says that if someone does a breast lift, you know?
Yeah. So true. And it's on your face.
They clap for you. They clap for you. They're like, oh my God, you had your babies. Yay.
Yeah. Like lift those boobs, you know? And by the way, it's the best procedure ever. I just did a breast lift. It's literally the best thing I ever did. But you know, Jason's right. If you presented with mobility, the solution is a facelift. And the youngest person we've ever done a facelift on was a 22-year-old. And she was a weight loss patient. So different situation. She lost about 150 or like to 200 pounds, I think it was. And she just presented with a lot of mobile, saggy, jowly, you know, skin and nasolabial folds that were super deep and marionette lines. And this poor baby, I mean, she was so happy to lose the weight, but you know, she had years and years of surgery ahead of her with her body, with her breasts, just everything was sagging. So we had to do a facelift and she's so happy. So, you know, again, the answer is we treat a condition, we don't treat a number.
Okay, I love that.
And number two, for fat transfer. So fat transfer to breast depends on the health of the breast. Number one, you have to get a mammogram beforehand, make sure that you don't have a lot of dense tissue, because that could, you know, go into danger zone. Know that none of these procedures come without risks, right? If you are a fluctuator, which I actually had done a fat transfer to my own breast before my breast lift, thinking, oh yeah, they're just a little deflated. I'll put a little fat in. Well, I'm a fluctuator. I go up and down like 10, 15 pounds a month, every month without fail. And the second I gained weight, it looked like I gained about 100 pounds in my breast. So wherever you transfer fat, it will gain in like a 50-fold. So if you're a fluctuator, fat transfer is not the answer for you. If you are extremely thin, obviously there's no fat to transfer. So that also puts you out of the running for a fat transfer. So there are definitely right and wrong candidates for fat transfer to breast. Also know that fat does not take place of an implant, does not replace an implant. Fat will fill whatever you put it into and take the shape of whatever you put it into. However, an implant is a device that creates a shape. So if you have a not so desirable or, you know, beautiful shape to your breast, probably fat transfer wouldn't be the way to go.
I have a question about a different procedure that is like all in the zeitgeist is like the fox eye lift.
Right.
There's a specific surgeon that does it to like a lot of young patients. So it's basically like a top facelift, like extreme brow lift. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Especially doing it for like young girls, because there's like a lot of girls in like their 20s that are doing it.
Right. So the brow lift, you know, depending on how it's done, first of all, a thread brow lift is ridiculous. It does not last. Yeah, it doesn't last. It just doesn't last. And then in a regular surgical endoscopic brow lift, will last a couple of years. That's very thin tissue up here. So the younger you do it, if you keep doing it over and over and over again, say it lasts 4 or 5 years tops, right? And then you redo it, you keep creating scar tissue in this area. That could create big problems for you later down the line. So it's not something that I really recommend unless you absolutely need it. Like some people have a normal brow. Like I have a pretty normal brow,
You have a fabulous brow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Every so often I kind of do this and I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? But really, when you think of it, you always have to think ahead for yourself. So think of like, what am I doing if I do this surgery? What type of damage does it create, if any? And how long is it going to last? And how many times am I going to have to do this for the rest of my life? So again, educated consumers, educated patients make smart decisions for themselves and don't damage their face or their body. So always ask yourself all these questions before you just sign yourself up for a surgery.
I love this so much. And I really think that I'm having an aha Oprah moment with you right now. I think this is the takeaway for everyone listening. And I wish something I had known is when you go in, you have to say, okay, well, what are the benefits? And then what is the damage this is doing? Because there is nothing, if you're sticking something in your face, whether it's a surgery or these non-invasive things, there is a damage happening. And I love what you said, because I get asked, because I was so open about it, like, oh my God, Kybella, like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh my God, like, but you have to go in no matter what you do, whether it's the threads, whether it's the la 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 la, there's always you're positive, what you're trying to achieve, and then the damage that is going to be in your face long term. And it's very difficult as humans, because we exist on this world that you never think you're going to get old. Like when you go into the doctor, you're not like, oh, well, when I'm 45, I'm going to have all this scar tissue around my eyes, and that's going to cause you don't really
never thought about that.
You're thinking about like the right now. You're like, what?
By the way, yeah, it's so true. When this dermatologist told me like silicone's the way to go, you do it once, it's super soft, you're never going to have to worry about it again. And here I am, 24 years later, and I'm just like, I need to like now slice my whole lip open and scoop this stuff out because it's settled and it's hardening and creating granulomas in my lips. I'm like, thank you, doc. I wish I would have known this back then. Yeah.
What is the positive and what damage am I doing that I'm going to have to deal with later? I love this. I love this. I love this. This was such a good morning.
I know.
Good. Listen, these are important things to know. We are in a very deceptive industry. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors and deceptive marketing.
So we've talked about your Instagram. If people want to follow you and follow your work, where can people follow you?
So you could find me on Instagram at Beauty Broker Official and on Twitter at Beauty Broker. And if you wanted to contact us, you could go to www.thebeautybrokers.com.
Hey,
love it so much. Well, this was awesome.
I've learned so much so early.
Well, thank you very much. And we will see you next
Tuesday.
Lady Gang.
Thanks for listening. The Lady Gang is produced by Alex Ingber, Steve Delameter, and Jared Monaco. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And if you love it, share it with your friends on social media. Like, oh my God, I just listened to Lady Gang. This episode's so great. Swipe up to listen. And if you really want to, which we know you do, please follow us on social. At Kelty, at Becca, at Jack Vanek, and at The Lady Gang. Sign up for our newsletter at theladygang.com and join our secret Facebook group. It's super fun. See you next Tuesday.
All this month, celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with Pluto TV. Watch movies with the biggest stars like Eugenio Derbez in No Eres Tú, Soy Yo, and Luis Gerardo Méndez in Camino a Marte. Plus, Pluto TV has thousands more movies and TV shows and over 45 channels in Spanish, all for free. So download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices and start streaming today. Pluto TV. Drop in, watch free.